What's up, YouTube? What it do? What it do? It's your boy Kensu here. So as we all know, Terry Bogard is coming to Street Fighter 6. You know, I got to thinking, how would Terry actually play in Street Fighter 6? Took me some time to make this, and I thought this would be a really fun video. So before we get into it though, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with everything and anything going on this channel. With that being said, let's cut into the video and let's take a look and see what Terry would play like in Street Fighter 6. Alright, so first up we got Terry's DLC outfits. So for costume 2, we have Fatal Fury City of the Wolves, clearly for promotion of the game, which obviously makes perfect sense. And then after that would be his King of Fighters 14 fit, which is a slight variation of his main, so I think it's different enough to include it to the game. Now of course, with a new DLC character comes a new stage. And what better stage than Terry's classic Fatal Fury 2 stage, West Albuquerque. Since the most recent update, Capcom has allowed you to select new music for your character while you're playing in fights. So these are some songs I think that embody the essence of the Fatal Fury series. Alright, here's just a quick glance of what I think his battle intro, victory screens, and his overall win screen will look like in Street Fighter 6. Alright, next up, we'll take a look at what I think Terry would have for his drive system. So here, first off, we have his DI, which is essentially would be his power charge animation. And next up, we have his drive reversal, which would be his close C from previous KOF games. And lastly, a quick look at his drive rush. Now that we already covered all this, let's give Terry some normals, some special moves, and some supers. But I want to put a quick little disclaimer here before we get into it. Keep in mind that Terry has no medium buttons in the Fatal Fury series. So we're gonna have to give him some normals, right? Let's get right into it. Let's get into his normals. So his standing light punch, nothing too crazy to talk about here, just a standard jab. We have his stand medium punch. We're gonna take this animation straight from City of the Wolves, and we're gonna actually add something to this later on. So we'll revisit this normal later on in the video. Next up, we'll have his standing heavy punch. Pretty much in line with all the Shotos. Again, nothing too crazy. All right, next up we have standing light kick, standard. Next up is stand medium kick. It'd be a great poke for him to use in the neutral game, just to kind of poke and prod at the opponent. All right, next up we have Terry's standing heavy kick, and this would be a pretty good addition. And all around have a good poke that over profiles, you know, low attacks. All right, next up we got his crouching normals. We got crouching light. Again, not too crazy here. Standard jab, crouching medium punch, which is his crouching heavy punch in And this will be a great counter poke for him in the neutral game. All right, next up we got his crouching heavy punch. So I figured this would be great for him to use as just a regular anti-air. So I think he would get a lot of utility out of this. All right, next up we got his crouching light kick, standard low, nothing too crazy. All right, so next up we have his crouching medium kick here. This essentially will be his low forward to like counter poke with or just check lows. We have Terry's sweep or crouching heavy kick. So we're taking this one straight from City of the Wolves because I think this fits him a lot more and I think will serve as a better sweep than his old sweep from previous games. Nothing too crazy to say here, it's just a sweep attack. We have jumping light. I think this will be a great air-to-air, all-around one of Terry's common moves to have in all games. Next up we have jumping medium punch, which is another standard air-to-air. Next up we got jumping heavy punch. So yeah, nothing too crazy here, standard stuff. All right, then we have his jumping light kick. You can use this jumping knee as a cross-up attack because you gotta have a cross-up in Street Fighter. You just gotta have it. Moving on from there, we got jumping medium kick. I felt like this could also serve as a pretty decent cross-up because Shotos all for the most part tend to have jump light kick and then jumping medium kick as cross-ups. So I figured why not let Terry fall in line with that as well. All right, and lastly we got his jumping heavy kick. We're taking this also once again from City of the Wolves. Once again, just like his jumping heavy punch, nothing too crazy, pretty standard stuff here. All right, so now that we've gotten through all those normals, we're gonna cut into Terry's command normals. And first up, we're gonna go with forward and heavy punch. This is essentially akin to Guile. I figured making it +2 would be okay, nothing too crazy there. I know Guile's +3, but he is a zoner and he does need that, but this is Terry we're talking about here. Back heavy kick. And I think this will serve great for a meaty attack. Pretty much similar to like how Bison is right now, and Bison can use back heavy kick for plus range. It'd be the same for Terry. I would just give it like +1, nothing too wild. And lastly, we have his target combo. So I did mention that I would revisit his stand medium punch, which in this case would be the start of his target combo, which would be stand medium punch, stand heavy punch. Standard target combo similar to Ken and or Kimberly. He does have this in City of the Wolves and in Mark of the Wolves, so it only makes sense to bring that target combo here into Street Fighter 6. Now that we got all the normals out the way, let's take a look at his special moves. So alright, so first up, Terry's Fireball, Power Wave, standard Fireball. Again, nothing too crazy here. I think to make it fair for Street Fighter, we'd make it hit mid-high so it will clash with Hadoukens. The EX or OD version, if you will just do multiple hits. Again, nothing too crazy. And next up on his move list is Burn Knuckle, essentially his palm strike like Jamie. The OD version of Burn Knuckle would cause a wall bounce, very much akin to Ryu's Donkey Kick, or Jodan if you will, where it can get a wall bounce anywhere and then continue confirming. That'd be really great for Terry to have. All right, next up, another signature move here from Terry is his crack shot. This move is just standard for Terry. It's a cool little hop kick here. You can make it over profile, over low, so he has two options to do that. Maybe give him a combo on punish counter. The EX version of crack shot, I would make overhead similar to KOF 15. Nothing too crazy, just an overhead. All right, next up we have Rising Tackle. So this would be Terry's signature anti-air move, or essentially his Dragon Punch. Yeah, it's just a DP. We could make it super cancelable into, level 3s, which would be okay. Which would be akin to essentially Ryu, which isn't too bad. Alright, so next up on a special move kit, we got Power Dunk. Despite looking like an anti-air, would not function like an anti-air. Instead, this will function more as a pressure tool for Terry by way of a mechanic known as break canceling. Break canceling is featured in City of the Wolves and Mark of the Wolves, and essentially what this would do is allow Terry to cancel this move and to continue pressure. Now, in my design doc, the way I have it here is that only the heavy version and the EX version would be allowed to be break cancelable. And lastly on Terry's special move list would be Power Charge. Essentially, Power Charge would be Terry's Rekkas featured in City of the Wolves. Let's take a look at Terry's Super Arts. First up on the Super Arts is the classic Power Geyser. Next up, this is the super. This is the super of all supers for this man, and it is Buster Wolf. So Buster Wolf, this would be Terry's anti-projectile super, so people are gonna have to be really careful throwing out those fireballs. Last up on Terry's super arts is Super Art 3. It's something I call Rev Ignition. Rev Ignition is essentially a play on words and a homage to City of the Wolves' Rev system. This level 3 will function similar to Jamie's, where you'll be able to land the level 3, but now you have access to the City of the Wolves mechanics, and then afterwards you'd be allowed to continue juggling them. And get something like a combo similar to what we have here on the screen. And at the end of your combo during Rev Ignition, you'll be able to do a super ender, what I have here, Grand Slam. Essentially, this is akin to DJ's level 2, where you have 2 options to end the level 2 super, but for Terry, you'd only have 1. And lastly, we have Terry's critical art, Overkill Geyser. Now this we're just gonna completely take from City of the Wolves because this is just a really cool ass animation, and I think it worked really great in Street Fighter 6. Alright, now that we've gotten through all these normal, special moves, supers, intro screens, and all the other good stuff, let's get to the real nitty gritty. The game plan. In the neutral game, Terry will rely on using Power Wave to work his way in and be able to also fight projectile wars. Additionally, when playing neutral and poking your opponent, I can see Terry relying on, first and foremost, standing medium kick for general poking, then standing heavy punch and crouching medium punch for counter poking, and then crouching medium kick to gain access to the drive rush cancel meta on crouching medium kicks. Now while playing neutral, Terry would have access to 2 major anti-air options, and those 2 options would be crouching heavy punch and rising tackle. 2 very easy to use options that I think any player can get into. If Terry finds himself having too much trouble dealing with projectiles, the player will have access to Super R2, Buster Wolf, which would allow Terry to have a way in and do damage and start up pressure. Now speaking of pressure, when up close and personal, I can see Terry taking advantage of his standing medium punch and his target combo alongside back heavy kick. Now, the target combo will work great with drive rush to open up more doors to frame traps, similar to Kimberly. Meanwhile, back heavy kick would work as one of his best meaty attacks on the opponent's wake up. Now, if Terry was to have the opponent in burnout, I could see him taking advantage of the power charge registering to put pressure on the opponent and dish out chip damage at the same time. So one of the things I see that's really cool for his game as well is that Terry's Super R3 could be a primary focus in the later rounds to be able to play to both the Street Fighter 6 system and the City of the Wolves Rev system. So, you know, he kind of gets the best of both worlds. Even though it may just be a combo, it's still kind of like, you know, a nice little homage. And naturally, of course, if his HP is too low, he will not have access to that. Instead, he'll just have his CA Overkill Geyser, which would do the trick anyway, again, similar to Jamie. Alright, and pretty much for the Avengers endgame here for this, I could see Terry as a pretty well-rounded character for Street Fighter 6 in my mind. And while this is essentially a design document in video form, it'd be pretty cool if some of this was actually accurate on his full release. I'm not gonna lie, but who knows? I mean, either way, I'm excited to play Terry on release, and I cannot wait to hit the lab with this guy because I love this character, man. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and comment below. Hey, and while you're at it, let me know what you guys see Terry doing in Street Fighter 6. I'm definitely interested in some of the creative ideas you guys may have out there, so let me know. And with that being said, let me get up on out of here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.